Hi, and welcome to the Along Podcast. I'm Tracy, a baby boomer.
And I'm Sierra, a millennial.
And on today's show, we're going to talk about the comparison trap. It's a scary one, right?
Yep.
You know, since I've been doing this, Sierra, this episode, thinking about it, oh my God, I realize how much I'm comparing myself to others. Social media, TV, people, constantly. And it's just, to me, I was thinking it's so much that I've created a syndrome for it. It's called CTO syndrome, comparison to others syndrome, because it's so pervasive and it's kind of an obsessive thing.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's hard not to compare yourself to others. Like, I feel like I'm pretty good at catching it for myself, but I think it's inevitable. I think we all just have the moments of slippage where we get and we have a bad day and we get in a spiral, or we're just feeling down on ourselves, and it's just really easy to fall into with social media.
It is. And there are levels of comparison. There are different types, not levels, but types.
Okay.
So you can compare yourself to people that are better than you. So that's like upward. You can compare yourself to people that are not as fortunate as you in whatever way. So then you feel better. And so it's so many parts of our lives. And I think it can be so damaging.
It's funny that you mentioned the comparing yourself to people that aren't as fortunate as you or whatever, because I never think about that when I think about comparison. Like, when I try to catch myself and prevent comparing myself to others, that's the one I don't really think about that often. I'd have to do a sort of audit of my life and be like, how often am I doing that? Where I'm like, well, at least I'm not that, you know? Mostly when I watch reality TV.
Right.
When I'm like looking at the hot messes on reality TV, and I'm like, well, at least I'm not, on a dating show.
You know what? That's so funny, because one of my little, and just between you and me,
Yeah.
I'll watch Married at First Sight.
Yeah.
That is an example.
Yeah.
And you know what? For that reason, in a way, because
Makes you feel a little better about yourself.
well, because they kind of all melt down, and I'm thinking it does. I think that's why we watch those kind of shows.
I would agree with that. And honestly, I think reality television, it goes with both. Like, just looking at Bravo, for example, you have some of them like the Real Housewives, where they do like these like really they drive these really fancy cars and they do these opulent vacations, and they're just very like rich and famous, lavish lifestyle. But then they have drama where you're like, oh girl, you are messy right now. And like, you can't help but like, there's something really satisfying about watching that and being like, oh, you're also a human and you also have flaws, even though you live this like lavish lifestyle.
I know. So why do we do it then? Why are we? I mean, it's like when you're watching those shows, or you're seeing a story about someone and something bad that's happened to them. Why do we do that? What is it in us that needs to do that?
I have to imagine there's some sort of primal instinct in there that it comes back to, right? I think part of it is probably it's in there to motivate us or drive us in some way. Like, if I think back to, the caveman era, that comparison or that need to do that was probably out of survival. So that way you just didn't become complacent and not do anything and not like take care of a family or whatever. But I just think that whatever that urge is that's in us, it has spiraled pretty out of control for a lot of people, or at least hard to tame for a lot of people, because we are inundated with a look into other people's lives, or what people are saying their life looks like. Not that it's really like that. And I'm specifically speaking about social media here, but I mean, we didn't always have a look at how people are living their everyday life as we do now.
You know what? I think back to, because I have been on the planet a while. Oh, wait, I have to say one other thing. I don't want to forget this. another piece of the comparison, and I'm thinking in terms of being a boomer, it's all the obvious stuff, right, that we're talking about. But then throw in the extra. Now I get an extra one, youth. So that, and you know what? That's in your face all the time. I mean, looking at you, it's like, ugh, she's, X amount of years younger than me. I'm not saying the number. I can't, when I think of the number, I go, oh my God. But it is a challenge. It is a huge challenge.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about that, for me at least, is like, I feel like me in my mid-30s in comparison to my 20s, I am much better about not comparing myself.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Than I was in my 20s. And that's with social media really, really started taking off, when I got out of college. So not during my prime, growing up in multiple years, but in some pretty multiple years there of like really creating the foundation of, figuring out who I am. And I've gotten a lot better in my 30s about not comparing myself. But I will say that when I go to a bar and there's a ton of 20-year-olds around, I do a little comparison.
Oh my.
So I can see what you're talking about.
I mean, does it, so really, because you look so young, you could be 25.
But I certainly don't look that age. Like if you see me in a sea of 20-year-olds, I do not look like that.
I mean, you know what? I think what has to happen, what I've discovered, is you do have to have a switch, and you have to switch it off. And that's what I have to, because when I was in my 20s, of course, we didn't have social media. So I'm thinking, did we do that very much? I just don't remember it being such a deal as it is now. And you know what? Childhood, I think, can be a part of this, and how you were brought up, which brings to mind a childhood story that is, you know how you have those moments in your childhood that just stay with you your whole life?
Yes.
Okay, here's one. I mean, I don't know how old I was, but we're drawing Christmas trees, right? And my Christmas tree sucked. It was terrible. So I'm drawing this Christmas tree, and the teachers behind me, they're assessing everybody in the classroom, and I heard them, and they said, "Oh, hers is terrible." Isn't that weird? And I heard that, and I'm sure it messed up my life forever.
What's funny is, like, I got a question about how loud were they whispering that if you
I
could
don't
hear that?
know. But when you're a kid, there's a
Did you
moment.
go to like Catholic school or something?
I was as a kid, but I don't know if it was. I don't think it was like a preschool or something.
Okay.
And I know it's just
Just seems like a very nun thing to do.
And it's, yeah, well, they weren't nuns. It was kind of it's just a small story in a way, but it was a big deal. And it's that comparison.
Well, yeah, I think especially as a kid and in those years where you're sort of gaining confidence or learning what your confidence really is, then yeah, the little things like that can really have a big impact on you.
So do you have any stories like that?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. I definitely feel like as a kid, I learned certain things to be aware of. Like I have really big front teeth, and it took me a long time to grow into them as like an adult. Now I love it. I feel like I really embrace having the not perfect smile, and I would never get veneers because I just feel like it's really, to me, I really like my smile. I like having the like little imperfections in it. It makes me stand out in comparison to everybody else who's had like the perfect cut teeth now. But I will say as a kid, I remember people pointing out, not in a making fun way, but like, oh, you have like really big like front teeth, especially adults would do it too.
Oh my. See, and I never noticed that at all.
Yeah, most people don't. It's something that you learn, and now I really, like I said, I really like it, but I think it's because you don't see it that often, and I've grown into them,
God, this comparison thing can be so damaging. I did a little research on it, and I was watching this YouTube show called Therapy in a Nutshell. Great title. And, she's a therapist. She's got millions of views. And she was saying that when you compare yourself to others, you outsource your identity. I think that kind of says it in a nutshell.
Yeah. No, it really does. And I think that when you compare yourself to other people, it inevitably means that like whatever is unique about you, you don't value.
Exactly. And that's what she's saying. You set your identity aside you forget who you are, and you just put everything into that comparing.
Yeah.
And then obviously you get depressed, and for me, maybe it's made me depressed, but more defeated. It can just sort of take the air out of everything, or where I feel like, but then, it can actually be a good thing.
Comparison?
Yeah. I mean, you can use it to fuel your own personal best. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I think you can certainly use it to drive you. Like I'm a very stubborn person. I will admit this. And nothing motivates me like when someone tells me I can't do something. And so I get it. Like if someone's like, oh no, but you can't do that. And then I'm like, watch me, I will do it. Something like that comparison, or that somebody doing something and me wanting it. And then like, in particular, when people don't believe I can do it, like the prove you wrong sort of thing really drives me. So I could see that. But I also just feel like using somebody else as a motivation for yourself is a really slippery slope. It is, because, first of all, I think it's limiting. I think you're limiting yourself to like an ideal that somebody else set for themselves. And second of all, it is creating a relationship with yourself that you're not appreciating yourself or loving yourself for just like the best that you can do, or for what you're currently doing. It really kind of takes away the appreciation for how far you've come to.
That's a good point. I think you can do it without being competitive with a person.
Yeah.
For me, that's how I view it, where it's an inspirational in that, okay, I got to get going. I got to do more.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other syndrome.
But isn't that more like admiration? Like you can admire someone without feeling like in competition with them?
Yeah, because I don't really feel competitive. I just feel like sometimes I need extra motivation.
Yeah.
And when I see what other people are doing, it can really motivate me.
Sure.
So how do we break free of this syndrome? What do you think?
Of CTO?
If CTO.
I mean, for me, I think it's just catching it. Like I've come to realize that I'm not going to be perfect about comparison and not comparing myself, but just being aware when I'm doing it and kind of trying to, I don't know, stop it in its tracks if it feels negative. I think there are, like you mentioned, like there are moments where it's good to do that, and it can be motivating. And if it's more rooted not in jealousy, but more admiration of like, oh, this person did that and I want to be more like that, I think that's okay. But catching it when it's more about negative self-talk in comparison to other people, I think that's the key.
And I think, to me, the key is, well, there's a couple things, but mainly in terms of social media, because it doesn't everything seem to come back to social media these days in terms of life and all of our...
Such a big part of our life now.
Yeah, and our troubles and the upside and the downside, and there's so many different ways to... I mean, there are good things and bad things about social media. Mm-hmm. I think what I do is I just tune it out. I force myself, if I feel like I'm going to get triggered, I just tune it out. I don't watch that stuff. I go, okay, I don't need to watch that, because it'll just send me in a, I mean, I wouldn't say a spiral, but it could. So I just tune it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do that?
I mean, I think it's hard to tune it out all the time. But yeah, I think that's one of the tactics I use. I really more, instead of trying to like ignore it, try and kind of figure out, maybe this is like the years and years of therapy from on my end, but instead of trying to ignore it and be like, that's ridiculous, don't think like that, I more sort of try and ask myself why I'm thinking like that. Like, why am I...
Exactly.
Let's just take, for example, if it's about looks or something like that. If I am looking at someone and I'm like, oh God, I really wish I like looked like that. Well, why am I having this like negative self-talk about my body right now? What's going on? Am I not feeling like I am, fitting the standard of like society, or is it that, oh, I haven't been going to the gym or been as consistent lately, and so then I'm feeling kind of bad about myself. Maybe if I go back to going to the gym consistently, not necessarily for some sort of body change, it'll give me that boost and like confidence in myself again of like, hey, you're taking care of yourself. Like that's probably more where it's coming from, as opposed to wanting to be a specific size or look a specific way.
And I think in the end, it comes down to one thing. Mm-hmm. It is kind of what you're saying. It's within us. It always comes back to that, because as we've all heard, there's always going to be somebody better looking, smarter, richer, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And so it all comes back to how we feel about ourselves and how much we work on ourselves. Because I know how important that part is, because when I focus on the external, that's when I get it, off kilter.
Yeah. And I think like doing that work takes time though. Realistically, it's not like overnight you're just going to be like, oh, suddenly I no longer compare myself. It really does take practice of retraining your thoughts. I think the biggest thing that I would encourage people to look at is identifying, first, just being able to identify when you're actually comparing yourself. Are you catching it all the time?
That's important.
Or are you doing it more often without even knowing you're doing it? So sitting down with yourself and really analyzing, how often am I doing this? How much of my day-to-day is rooted in comparing myself? And I would say if you spend a lot of your time on social media, it's probably more often than you think.
I think it's pervasive. And I think we just have to, like you said, be aware that it's happening.
Yeah.
And and again, it comes down to we got to stay in our own lanes. I think that's the thing. The more we focus on other people and what other people are doing, the more we are going to be brought down. And the more you realize that you are unique, each person is completely unique, 100%. Mm-hmm. And I think we don't realize that. And I think we forget as we go through life and go on social media and look at other people, and we start to focus. Well, we tend to focus on that. And if you just circle back to you and remember that you're unique, I know people will say, well, it's easy for you to say whatever they would say. And everybody has a story, and that's another thing. Everybody has a story and everybody's struggling. So the people that we look at on social media and say, God, look at their life.
Yeah.
We don't know the backstory.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I don't even know where this phrase came from, but I've heard the phrase many times is, what other people think of me is none of my business.
Exactly. I love that.
It's so true. But it's hard because truly, look, we're human. We all want to fit in. We want to be accepted by our peers. And I think that's what is really at the root of comparison, right? It comes down to some really basic high school shit.
It does.
It's like,
it does.
I want people to like me. I want to fit in. And we can all sit here and say like, no, I don't want those things. You do.
I mean, we are flawed. And one other thing I forgot about this, is that social media is curated.
It's very curated, right? And it's a false viewpoint of what other people's lives are like. And I would say the same about reality television. I would say the same about, we live in Los Angeles. I feel like I don't believe anything I see. Truly.
And now throw in AI and you don't know who's real.
I know. Yeah.
When you look at it, you just don't know. So again, I think the only answer is within ourselves.
Yeah. It's stay in your lane. Well, always feel free, like you can spread your wings, but like in terms of going about your life and focus on you and focus on improving yourself in the way that feels right to you, not based off of what everybody else thinks.
Well, do you think we figured it out? Sort of, kind of.
No, I don't think so.
It's going to just it's going to continue. And with everything there's so much with AI going on. There's so much happening right now that we don't even realize.
Yeah.
That we have to almost steel ourselves from all of that and say, okay, just remember these things. And I think in the end, the basic thing to remember is gratitude.
Yeah.
Stop if you're in a comparison and you're in the syndrome, if you're deep in the syndrome, stop and go, okay, what am I grateful for? It does shift things.
Yeah. And I think having gratitude in general just gives you a little bit more perspective about what's actually important. I don't know. Have you ever done like I think it's the 5-minute journal or something like that?
I don't think so.
It was a big, during COVID, a lot of the influencers were doing it. But the 5-minute journal has you like start off with saying 3 things you're grateful for. And then it'll kind of, I forget all of the prompts, but it'll like ask you about like at the end of the day, what went well or what you were grateful for that day or something like that. But you start off every day with gratitude, saying, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for this, and I'm grateful for this. And then like, here's kind of my mantra for the day, and here's what I'm hoping to accomplish today, and all that sort of stuff. And it is a good way to sort of set yourself up for the day and and start yourself off with framing about what's important in life, as opposed to just jumping into your day and immediately going on social media and immediately going in that world and thinking that those are the things that you should be giving your attention to.
That sounds like a great plan.
Yeah, you should look into it.
And I'm all about the mantras every day. I do mantras every day, and it helps. It helps me center myself.
Yeah, you've said that. And you have like multiple mantras for like situations, which I think is really smart.
I don't think people would think I'm nuts now because everybody's walking around with those AirPods.
Yeah.
And so everybody's talking to themselves. And then there are, of course, other people who have mental health issues. But I do that. If you saw me walking down the street, which I do a lot.
Talking to yourself?
Completely. And now I just do it out loud.
Yeah.
It's like I can just say, like, thank you for showing me this issue's already solved. And you don't even think about the issue. You just say it.
Yeah.
And you just say it. So I just say it. I just do that. And it also gives you something to do while you're walking.
I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. I'm not judging. I think like whatever helps you get in that mindset to really like be the best version of yourself and overcome whatever obstacles are in your way, go for it.
And also helping others.
Yeah.
Doing that as well. And less comparison and more how you can just use your own talents to help other people.
Yeah. And I think, look, here's the thing. I think admiration is an okay thing to have. I don't like the idea of, because when I think of comparison, I mostly think people are doing it, and I could be wrong, but I feel like people are probably mostly doing it about status and look. And that's fine if some of your goals are to make money or to like, feel really great in your body. And like, if that means having 6-pack abs or whatever, okay, cool. That's fine. But that's not the only thing about life. And I think when people compare themselves to others, they seem to think that those things like being really attractive or having a lot of money solve all the problems in life. So just remember that like you're kind of selecting what you see. And when you compare yourself, you're not getting the full picture of what that person's life is. So I think it's okay to admire certain aspects of people's lives. Yeah. That's fine. But just know that there are other aspects of their lives that probably aren't so perfect.
Exactly.
Or aren't so great.
I think that's super important.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a difference between men and women in comparison?
Yeah, I do think probably. I think that there is probably a huge difference in terms of like how specifically they compare themselves, but I kind of come back down to it's probably about status and it's probably about looks still.
And men comparing themselves to men, do men then compare themselves to women, or do women compare themselves to men? I mean, I don't think so.
I don't think I've ever compared myself to a man. I'm going to be really honest. I honestly think I pretty much only do it to women.
I think in terms of, I do in terms of accomplishments.
To men?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, people that are in my world, I definitely do.
That's interesting.
Really?
I've never done that.
Well, I think we need to ask a man.
Okay.
Man? Greg? What do you think? Do you do that?
Yeah, well, men definitely compare themselves to other men mostly, but other people, yeah, I think when it comes to accomplishments, like you're just looking at like, oh, how much money does someone make, or how far along are they in their career, like that kind of thing, which is pretty masculine to begin with. That whole like, you know, the corporate ladder and whatever, just like that sort of thing. But yeah, men compare. I mean, that starts on the playground with like literally like boys lining up back to back. Who's taller? Like that still happens now. That like
I've been at a few parties where people are like, "You're not 6'2". Let me see. Stand back to back."
Literally, that's happened to me within the last year. It's had someone be like, "Hang on, stand back to back. We got to see who's."
Well, and then you get to be a baby boomer. It's like, who shrunk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to bring that up, but it's reality.
But yeah, it's literally like they're going on like, all right, who's like got the, you know, like that, who's got bigger arms, and like it starts with that. But I think it's, you know, as primates, social primates, like it is about status, it is about looks, and we just want. I think we compare because we just have this innate desire to want to be better than other people, which is gross, I guess, but like it's just our reality.
Yeah.
So I don't, you know, I think some of the things you guys have talked about as far as mitigating that are good, but I'm like, I don't know that you ever fully escape it. So I do think the like, if you can harness it into, you know, I think Matthew McConaughey is maybe, you know, his sort of, I don't know if you remember his Oscar speech from years back that everyone was kind of like making fun of him a little bit because he was like, my hero is me 5 years from now. Like, you know.
Forgot.
I mean, I honestly.
So people really were turned off by
I don't remember that
They
speech.
just were making jokes about it, obviously. You know.
I don't remember that speech, but I vibe with that because I kind of am the same. I'm a little bit of the same way. Like I don't like if you were to ask me who my idol is, I'm like I don't have one. And that's intentional. Like it is whatever the best version of me is. That's what I aspire to be. I don't forget what everybody else is doing.
And that's pretty much the answer.
Yeah.
It does come back to that. I mean, it's not trite. I think it's true.
Yeah. And I think it's probably the healthiest way to go. Like Matthew McConaughey probably has it right. And I'm shocked those words are coming out of my mouth, but I really do think like it's part of like stay in your lane. Like don't pay attention to what other people are doing. Pay attention to what you're doing. And I'm not a sports person, but I'm pretty sure they tell you a lot of that in sports. Like focus on you, focus on like being good, like keep your eye on the goal and fuck what everybody else is doing. Like I think that's kind of how you have to be sometimes to really drive to success and be the best version of you, because it's really easy to get distracted when somebody else has the shiny over here and you want to take a shortcut to get to that point.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say I better get going on this and go in the fast lane, in my own fast lane.
Yeah, in your own fast lane.
Just go for the personal best. Part of the reason probably why I run up hills. I mean, it does make me feel powerful, I have to say. That's something I do that makes me feel powerful.
Yeah.
So maybe we find things that... What makes you feel powerful, Greg?
Oh, wow. Good question. I would say exercise and being consistent with that is a huge one. And then just problem solving, I think. I think that's what, you know... Obviously, there's the jokes about mansplaining and whatever, because it is such a male trait that like we just want to like problem solve, and that's when we feel the bet like useful in the bet, like we're adding to this thing and we're, you know, in this situation and here's the thing that needs to be done. You know?
Yeah, it is. It is funny how it's really annoying when people do it to me at work, but like in relationships, I've learned, like, just let him do it. Just let him mansplain for a second. It makes him feel better. And like I don't even have to take the advice. It just makes him feel better. And then, like when you understand how men work, sometimes you just are like, okay, I need to give him this one thing where he feels like I did something.
On that note, that's another episode. Okay. Thanks, Greg. I have a great quote, Sierra, that I came across. I always like to close with quotes. Mm-hmm. Be yourself. An original is worth more than a copy. I mean, it's simple.
I like it.
But it's powerful. So it's all just about trying to stay on our own paths and be our own best.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming along with us today. If you want to see more, check us out on TikTok and Instagram and give us a follow. See you next time.
Bye.